Right now at noon, the Wisconsin Department of Corrections says funding is needed to update its facilities, how much Governor Evers is asking the State Building Commission to release. Plus, Vice President J.D. Vance is in Israel this afternoon, how their administration is trying to bolster the fragile ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. This is News 3 Now at noon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Josh Breiter. Right now, the Dane County Sheriff's Office is asking for your help in finding a missing man. 67-year-old Alan Johnson was last seen around 1 yesterday afternoon after dropping off his truck at DeForest Collision. He was then seen walking north on Main Street back to his home. Johnson is 5'9", weighs about 205 pounds, and has gray and white beard. He was last seen wearing black sweatpants, a black sweatshirt, and a green baseball cap. If you have any information on his whereabouts, call Dane County Sheriff's Office at 608-205-2345. Residents in Lake Mills discovered white supremacist flyers in their yards over the weekend. The materials promote the Aryan Freedom Network and contain messages about white power. Police say they have no evidence of threats or targeted distribution, but locals disagree.
Anytime you see this in this day and age, I think it needs to be taken seriously.
The flyers appeared after Lake Mills hosted a No Kings rally Saturday. The Aryan Freedom Network's website displays swastikas and Confederate flags. The police chief declined our interview request, but says no further investigation is planned. Wisconsin Department of Corrections Secretary Jared Hoy says the state needs to act now to update correctional facilities. Governor Evers called the State Building Commission last week to release $15 million from the state budget for the facilities. The $15 million would go towards preliminary planning and design reports for building projects at 6 correctional facilities. Hoy says if the money gets released, he's looking at a quick timeline.
We'd be looking at, in the next 6 to 9 months, up to a year, to be able to come back to the legislature, which is an aggressive timeline, but we think we can get it done because it's important. And like I said, every minute and day that we take longer just pushes this plan down the line. And the whole arc of the plan is through 2029, 2030. So we want to get moving on the front end as soon as we can.
The State Building Commission will take up Governor Evers' request at its meeting next Tuesday. The Richland County Board has decided that all of its municipalities must sign an agreement that lasts through 2027 to keep their ambulance services. The previous proposal would have lasted just 3 months. The Richland County Executive Committee voted last week to phase out the old agreement amid budget concerns, with the 2026 budget planning to use $250,000 from reserves. All but one municipality approved the new long-term deal. Right now, some Madisonians are concerned about emergency response times with John Nolan Drive reduced to a single lane. Assistant Chief of Operations Jeff Larson says response strategies haven't changed yet as traffic patterns are evaluated. He says alternate routes will keep fire and EMS moving even during rush hour, and crews will coordinate with construction to maintain access. If you're on John Nolan Drive and see an emergency vehicle, only pull over when it's safe to do so, and do not drive on sidewalks or curbs. Let's get a first check of your first warn forecast. Here's meteorologist Jacob Montesano. Chilly Tuesday out there, Jacob.
Yeah, it definitely feels like fall out there right now. Temperatures are in the upper 40s across most of Dane County. A few areas in the western portion of the county hanging on to the 50s. And I say hanging on because temperatures may actually fall throughout the afternoon rather than rise. As we take a look across the area, mostly in the upper 40s. Again, a few lower 50s out there. But as we take a look at the temperatures that are expected during the afternoon, they're going to drop into the middle 40s. And we also will see some rain with those cooler temperatures. Now, a big reason that the temperatures are colder today from yesterday is we're seeing breezy conditions again, similar to yesterday, but the winds are out of the west-northwest. Right now, sustained winds are up near 10 to 20 miles per hour, and that is really bringing in some of that colder air. Now, let's talk about the rainfall. Not really seeing anything yet. Actually, we are seeing a few sprinkles. That's actually really just developed over the last hour or so. And these light scattered sprinkles are really going to be the story of today. Not expect to see anything anything heavy, but everybody will see on and off light showers throughout the afternoon into the evening and early overnight. So in general, it's going to be a pretty gloomy rest of the day with the cooler temperatures and the consistent chance of rainfall. And then once we get to the later overnight hours, most of the rain looks to clear up, but we are going to continue to be cloudy. Now, because of the cloudy skies, temperatures tonight aren't going to be too cool, but we are very likely going to see our first freeze of the year later in the week, at least for a lot of the region. So I'll talk more in detail about just how cold the temperatures could get coming up a bit later.
We knew it would be here eventually.
Exactly.
All right, Jacob, thank you. The Senate is expected to hold another vote today as the government shutdown now becomes the second longest in U.S. history. Senate Republicans are also expected to meet with President Trump at the White House to discuss the current bill and several smaller packages. Those bills, if passed by both houses of Congress, could pay some federal workers, including active duty military members. House Speaker Mike Johnson says he would bring the House back into session if those bills were to pass through the Senate.
Yes, I don't have any faith that they're going to pass it, though. I think they're going to continue to play games.
Today's high-stakes meetings come just one day after the Secretary of Transportation warned that more travel disruptions could happen if air traffic controllers continue to work without pay. Vice President J.D. Vance is in Israel this afternoon to try and prevent the ceasefire with Hamas from collapsing. The vice president is expected to meet with the Israeli prime minister following fighting over the weekend. Natalie Brand reports.
Vice President J.D. Vance is on the ground in Israel to send a message the White House remains fully committed to the peace deal it helped broker. Vance, ahead of his trip, was asked if he thinks the ceasefire can hold.
We think that it has the best chance for a sustainable peace, but even if it does that, it's going to have hills and valleys, and we're going to have to monitor the situation.
Vance joined Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, who returned to the region this week to work on implementation. Despite new fighting over the weekend, Hamas's top negotiator said today it's committed to ending the war. President Trump Tuesday warned Hamas that allies have offered to go in and, quote, straighten out Hamas. The president said not yet, but if violence doesn't stop, an end to Hamas will be, quote, fast, furious, and brutal.
They're going to be very good. They're going to behave. They're going to be nice. And if they're not, we're going to go and we're going to eradicate them if we have to.
The administration says there will not be U.S. boots on the ground in Gaza, but American troops are part of the efforts to coordinate humanitarian aid and monitor the ceasefire.
As part of Phase 1, Hamas is still in the process of returning the deceased hostages to Israel, with the remains of an Israeli sergeant major returned overnight. Wow. Witkoff and Kushner met with some of the living hostages and their families freed from captivity just a week ago. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
President Trump is receiving the Architect of Peace Award from the Nixon Foundation today for trying to end the war in Gaza. Right now, authorities in France are tracking down the crooks who stole some priceless royal jewels from the Louvre Museum in Paris. Officials say the heist happened in less than 8 minutes Sunday. They entered on the backside using a basket lift before smashing display cases and taking 9 items, including a pearl and diamond tiara made for Napoleon III's wife and a sapphire-studded necklace and earrings. Best-selling author Daniel Silva, who has written numerous books featuring art thefts, discussed the real-life saga.
There's a trend in museum heists toward staying away from paintings that are much harder to move and going after objects like this that can be repackaged, as it were, and broken down and melted and slipped onto the market that way. This is worth millions of dollars, even at black market prices. I mean, this is a big score.
As they made their getaway, the thieves did leave one item behind, a diamond-studded crown. Authorities suspect the heist is linked to an organized crime network. A major security scare at the world's busiest airport in Atlanta, where police say they stopped a likely attacker. A body-worn camera shows the moment 2 Atlanta police officers approached Billy Joe Cagle at the airport's South Terminal yesterday morning. Police were canvassing for Cagle after his family called 911 less than 30 minutes prior. Authorities arrested Cagle in the terminal. He was unarmed at the time, but police say they found an AR-15 assault rifle and 27 rounds of ammunition in his truck.
And I do believe he was likely to use that weapon inside the crowded terminal that he had just seen. We did have a tragedy averted today.
Police describe him as mentally challenged and say he is a convicted felon, which should exclude him from owning a firearm. Investigators say they're looking into how he obtained that firearm as well as a possible motive. Coming up next on News 3 Now at noon, where a familiar holiday treat is getting a new look, plus how much more a new survey says workers could pay for their employer-sponsored health plans next year.
Amazon Web Services is operational again after a massive outage earlier Monday rippled across thousands of internet sites around the world. Users yesterday had reported problems with popular platforms like Roblox, Venmo, and Snapchat, while multiple airlines and Amtrak said the outage caused some minor delays and brief technical issues on their ends. AWS says the outage was caused by an underlying internal subsystem responsible for monitoring the health of our network load balancers. Workers could pay 6 to 7% more for their employer-sponsored health plans next year, according to a survey from consulting firm Mercer. The study found several reasons for the jump, including costly treatments like GLP-1 weight loss drugs, plus an aging population that uses more medical services. The Kaiser Family Foundation estimates more than 164 million Americans get their insurance coverage through an employer. And a familiar holiday treat is getting a new look this year to mark its 40th anniversary. This year, those iconic Little Debbie Christmas treat cakes will feature special Santa Claus packaging. The company is also offering fans a chance to win their favorite Little Debbie Christmas treat cake flavor in its 40 Days of Giveaways contest. Entry forms can be found on the Little Debbie website. That's your CBS News Money Watch report. For more, log on to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center, I'm Jesse Mitchell.
Here's the stock report at the noon hour. The Dow is up 253 points. NASDAQ is down 61, and the S&P 500 is up 16. Pam has today's farm numbers up next, and Jacob is tracking the first warn forecast. Then later on Live at 4, a newly approved test for Alzheimer's. Why local doctors say it provides a broader understanding of the disease. Welcome back. Let's check in now with Pam Bianchi for the Midwest Farm Report. Hi, Pam.
Hi, Josh. Yeah, believe it or not, we're already starting to look at the end of October, and I've got to talk about an event that's coming up in December. Wisconsin Farm Bureau Federation making a lot of plans for their annual Young Farmer Convention and annual meeting in Wisconsin Dells, and they've now assigned 4 ambassadors for the event. These are college students from around Wisconsin that are going on to pursue different types of agriculture degrees. They'll be at the Farm Bureau's convention coming up in December. Let me introduce you to Franny Everson. Everson, I should say. She's a junior at UW River Falls studying animal science. She grew up on a farm in Alma Center, was very involved in the state fair as well as her local county fair. She'll be one of the event ambassadors. Kelly Hernus is a senior at UW-Madison. She's double majoring in agricultural and applied economics and life science communication with a certificate in public policy. She actually grew up on a farm in western Wisconsin. She's involved in Collegiate Farm Bureau, and she'll be up in Wisconsin Dells. Parker Litterick is a senior at Iowa State University studying agriculture and communication. She grew up on a dairy farm in Theresa and will be part of the event ambassadors as well. And then Brooke Malik. She's from central Wisconsin, currently studying agriculture education at UW-Platteville. She grew up showing livestock and working on the family farm, and she's going to be sharing her enthusiasm with us coming up during the Wisconsin Farm Bureau Federation's annual convention and Young Farmer Conference. That's going to be the first weekend of December. Kalahari Resort, Wisconsin Dells. For you Farm Bureau members, if you have not made your reservations yet or gotten your registration in, please try to take care of that just as soon as possible. Hotel space is at a premium already for that big event, one of the state's largest farm conventions that we'll get a chance to attend. So markets have taken a downturn in Chicago, some of it because of the poor economic outlook that China's reporting in the marketplace. And despite the fact that yesterday we were a little bit more optimistic about where we're going with China, those are dimming ideas right now. And then there's the big announcement that accidentally happened on Air Force One on Friday that's tanking our cattle market. President talking about potentially bringing in Argentinian beef to try to lower the cost of beef to U.S. consumers. Our U.S. cattle producers not very thrilled with that that idea, hoping that he'll talk to them or bring their ag secretary to bring discussions to them. Barrel cheese up 1/4 cent today at 177.5. 40-pound block cheese down 3, 176.5. Double A butter stands still on a Tuesday at $1.58 a pound. So there you go, Josh. Like I said, next week already Halloween, and got to start talking about those winter conventions just around the corner.
Yeah, it's all downhill from here as far as those temperatures go, unfortunately, Pam.
I'm afraid.
Winter in Wisconsin, it's upon us. All right, thank you, Farm Bay. Appreciate you. Let's get a check of that forecast now. First for meteorologist Jacob Montesano. Hi, Jacob.
Hey, Josh, as we take a look at the 3 things you need to know, not great news if you like some warmer temperatures, because we're going to see some showers this afternoon through tonight, and windy conditions are going to continue through tomorrow. But the bigger story is that now that we've dropped down, we're not going to see temperatures rising all that much going forward, if at all. And we're going to stay below normal, at least for the next couple of days. But even the warmest days going forward will only have temperatures near normal. And this time of year, the normal's in the upper 50s. So fall-like temperatures are here, and they're going to stay around. Now, as we take a look at the current radar, a lot of light sprinkles and showers across the region. This is going to be the story throughout the entire day. We could see some pockets of moderate rain, but most of the rain should be pretty light. But every part of our area will see these on and off showers throughout the afternoon and into the evening and overnight as well. So a very gloomy rest of the day into the overnight hours, and then cloudy skies are expected to continue for the overnight hours into early Wednesday. Might still see some sprinkles at times on Wednesday, but for the most part, we're just going to see cloudy skies and not a lot of rainfall. Maybe some peaks of sunshine in far southwest Wisconsin. And then when we get to Wednesday night, we'll start to see the clouds begin to sort of clear out of the area. Still going to see them linger, but those clear skies Wednesday night will really help those temperatures fall quite a bit. So let's take a look at the temperature forecast. Right now, we're in the middle 40s. We're going to stay there throughout really the entire day. And because of the cloudy skies, we're not going to see the temperatures drop too much overnight, lows in the lower 40s. But also because of the cloudy skies, they're not going to rise all that much for Wednesday either. We'll still see those temperatures in the 40s. And then beginning Wednesday night, when the skies become a little clearer, we're going to see those temperatures dropping into the middle and lower 30s. Now, the Sunshine Thursday will lead to temperatures back in the lower 50s, still below normal. But then take a look at Thursday night as we continue to see clear skies at this point in time and also less wind. We could be talking about temperatures dropping into the 20s for a lot of the area. Now, I don't expect to get this cool, but below freezing temperatures are absolutely possible for Thursday night for everybody. And a lot of the area has not seen a temperature drop below freezing yet this season. So very chilly temperatures once we get to Thursday night. But the winds are going to be a lot better at that point in time. Still going to see gusty winds tomorrow, some minor winds Thursday. Friday and Saturday will feature calmer winds, but then the winds are going to pick back up for next week, and that's going to bring our next chance of rain. We aren't going to see much rain after the system today through tonight clears out. The rest of the week does look to be pretty dry. Weekend, not too bad temperature-wise, but then the rain chances are going to increase for early next week. And I say the weekend not too bad because we'll see highs around 60 with a decent amount of sunshine. And again, not as windy of conditions later in the week. Really, once we get past Wednesday, it'll be a lot calmer. Friday and Saturday especially, we're going to see calm winds. But again, those calm winds and clear skies allow those temperatures overnight to really fall. And we're going to see that Thursday night especially. Again, lows possibly below freezing for the first time this season.
Weekend looks nice, though. All right, Jacob, thank you. Up next, we'll see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
We're whipping up a dessert that looks as good as it tastes. Don't go anywhere or you'll miss it. Every now and again, it's okay to show off. I mean in the kitchen, especially when the results deliver a dessert that looks and tastes like it was a lot of work, even though it wasn't. So get ready as we show you our little secret. You're not going to believe how easy it is. We begin by melting some baking chocolate with a bit of butter in the microwave. Once that's smooth, we beat in some sugar, eggs, vanilla, and when that's creamed together, we add some flour and continue beating it before spreading it into a baking dish. And then we'll set that aside. Over here, we have some softened cream cheese that we beat with some sugar and an egg. This will be our cheesecake layer. To take this over the top, we add some chopped up candy bars before we drop spoonfuls of it on top of our chocolate layer. Now for the fun part. We take a butter knife and swirl the two batters together, creating sort of a marble effect. When it's all swirled, we bake it until it sets up. Once it's cool, cut it into bars and enjoy the perfect combo of brownies and cheesecake all rolled into one amazing dessert. Just don't forget to serve it with a fresh cup of joe. These fudge cheesecake bars are bound to be a hit with your gang, so go online and get the recipe today. I know you'll be glad you did. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where every day we're looking for a doubly good way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
And we want to let you know Mr. Food will be ending on October 31st, but don't worry, we're working on bringing you a new locally produced food segment to air right here on News 3 Now at noon. Now let's go to Jacob for a final check of your forecast.
Thanks, Josh. We are going to see these cool temperatures stick around, highs in the upper 40s the next couple of days, then in the 50s to end the week, but it will get sunnier and less windy once we get towards the end of the week and the weekend.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Thanks for watching. Coming up next is The Bold and the Beautiful. Our next newscast is live at 4, and you can find us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+.